Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and it is that time of year. Now, I know that only half of my audience is American, so they don't celebrate Thanksgiving, but this same thing can be applied to other holidays that are coming up also within the next month or so. The topic always comes up of how do people handle all of the food and the possible binges and everything else on their diets who are fitness oriented when these holidays roll around. So let me put on my +5 head of weapons with me. Still do a little bit of crafting and let's talk about it. And one of the things that I always do on here that's different than the other YouTubers, you have a lot of YouTubers who are competitors. And because they're competitors in some physique-oriented thing, they tend to have that mindset when they come into this. But let's be honest here, oftentimes the mindset of competitors is unhealthy psychologically and physically on many levels, and this is one of them that's true. And I'm not talking about people who compete here, guys. I understand that like 1% of my audience compete in something physique-related. The other 99% don't. They don't need to use your logic and your methods. And what I want people to understand is that obsessing about this stuff, particularly during special times like holidays and stuff that are supposed to be about family and fun and food and everything, if you do not make a living off of your physique, spending a lot of time stressing about this or completely avoiding the foods that everyone else is eating is not emotionally healthy. It's not healthy for your relationships and everything else. I understand if you make a living off of this, but the odds that any of you listening actually make a living on this, there might be 3 of you in the whole audience that do. And a lot of guys are like, well, I want to make a living off of this. Well, you might want to think that through. It's not as nice of a living as you might think to be a professional fitness model or physique competitor or anything else. It's not all it's cracked up to be. It may not be the life that you're envisioning and glorifying it to be once you get into it. It's a lot seedier of a life than you might have anticipated when you decided to get involved. Let's put it this way. You're probably not going to make enough money off photo shoots and sponsorships to survive, and you're going to have a lot of money thrown at you for sex favors. Just throwing that out there. It's not going to be from women. So be prepared for that life. So, that aside, this is for everybody else, because too many competitors give advice on this. And you know what I'm going to tell people? You're not going to get fat in a single day. I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about strategies to minimize this near the end, but first we're going to talk about this mindset. You are never going to get fat from a single day of eating. I don't care if you eat until you vomit. The amount of fat that you can gain in a single day from food intake is actually fairly limited. In fact, the human digestive system can't even absorb more than about 15,000 calories in a day. All right? Carbohydrate overfeeding from a single day does not put any body fat on people ever in a single study. And I'm talking thousands of calories of extra carbohydrates do not make you gain body fat from the carbohydrate storing. It takes 2 to 3 days of continuous carb overfeeding to see that. You just tend to see your body heat go way up and you sweat it out. You don't gain fat from the first day, even from thousands of extra carb calories. You're going to feel like crap the next day, and you're going to start storing fat like crazy the next day when you start eating more food. But that first day you don't. You're only storing the fat you eat. And you think about the fat that you eat at one of these big meals, you're talking about if you gorge yourself, absolutely gorge yourself stupidly, which I don't recommend anyone do, you're not going to gain more than a couple ounces of body fat off of one of these big holiday afternoon meals, okay? You're just not. It's just not biologically possible. You're going to gain some water weight, which you'll lose in a few days. All right, you go back to your normal diet, your clean diet, you're going to lose the water weight. It's temporary. But what you need to factor in is that you're talking about sometimes critical relationships with family, talking about things that you enjoy with loved ones versus some little temporary view on how you think abs are important to you right now. You know what? In 10 years, they won't be. Even if you continue to train, the majority of you who train hardcore now, even if you continue to lift, you're going to care less about having a perfect physique the longer you do this, unless it becomes a career for you. And the majority of you, it won't. Stop and think that through. You know what you also might not have in 10 years? You might not have your grandma in 10 years. So when you show up to these meals that grandma's cooked for you and she's got her famous apple pie or pecan pie or pumpkin pie or whatever it is that she makes that you enjoy, you know it tastes good. 10 years from now, if your grandma's dead, because all my grandparents are dead, they're all dead, all of them. So is my mother, all right? You know what I would give to have one slice of pie that my mother, one of my grandmothers cooked for me at a big get together, I'd give a lot for that. So stop and think about that for a moment. These people aren't going to be here forever, and the joy that they're going to get from feeding you that, and the fact that you might get one more or two more holidays where you get that pie, that homemade pie or something that your grandma cooked. All right, you might not have that 5-10 years from now still. And you know what? You're not going to get fat off of a couple slices of pie every Thanksgiving and every Christmas. You're not. It's just biologically impossible. This obsession with this idea is silly. And it can hurt your relationships with your family, and it can be costing you good memories over something that doesn't matter. For example, Jerry Ward came and talks about this every year, about he takes Tupperware and bakes chicken and everything to Thanksgivings and holidays, and he acts like it's a big deal. Jerry makes his money in this off of YouTube. Jerry's not a professional at anything. He's failed to get a pro card for 20 years. Is this doing him any good? Meaning he puts himself through this and has hurt his relationships with family, and is not even partaking in bonding times with family and good food and everything for what? The guy can't even get a pro card. He's still an amateur, doesn't make any money whatsoever doing the actual competitions. He's an amateur, failed to go pro. Has it helped him at all? I don't think it has. So stop and think about that. You are trading something that you might actually really miss for some temporary idea that you might gain an ounce of body fat for a couple of holidays a year. You realize you can diet that off in one day. It takes one day to lose an ounce of fat. It's nothing. And you know what? If you guys are really that worried about it, and you shouldn't be that psychologically obsessed about it. If you do, you probably have a problem that you need to investigate. You have an issue, because you know what? You should be able to get away with a cheat meal every single week without any problems while still losing fat. Again, people are talking about fluid balance and looking perfect for some physique competition. Your fluid balance can shift a bit for a day or so from a cheat day or a cheat meal. But you know what? That's not body fat, and that's temporary. So stop and think about these things, of the things that you're giving up over nothing. Something that means nothing. 1 day, 2 days of water weight, an ounce of body fat that you can easily diet off with an hour on the treadmill. Come on. Furthermore, it's also what happens is this unhealthy binge and purge relationship that goes along with this. And what I'm going to recommend, if you want to take a healthier approach to this and you say, okay, I don't want to gain a lot of body fat from it, I want to minimize it, I want to go enjoy this, I want to eat turkey, I want to eat pie, I want to eat the ice cream afterwards with it. What do I do about it if I don't want to obsess over it? Very simple. Create a deficit ahead of time. Meaning most athletes think about it in terms of what they eat is about training fuel. We'll look at it the same way. Instead of saying, okay, I'm going to purge myself afterwards by going and starving myself and doing 3 hours of cardio the next day, which is also a big mistake a lot of people make because, again, you develop eating orders that way. How about you pre-plan, pre-game it, and say, okay, I know I'm going to overeat a lot today when I go to this meal. So how about I get up in the morning and I do some extra fasted cardio? How about I create a deficit going into it so that my body actually needs the extra calories for recovery? How about I create a situation where my body actually needs that food and can benefit from it? Do it that way. Do a little bit of fasted cardio, an hour of fasted cardio before you head over. Go to that big meal on nothing but veggies or maybe a little bit of lean protein, or completely fasted if you can handle it. Then you go in and what happens? Now your body actually needs calories. It's going to benefit from them. You've created a deficit. Your body is in need of it badly for your training. So go in and eat as much of the pie and the turkey and everything that you want, and have fun. Enjoy good times with your loved ones. And then guess what? You probably have overeaten a little bit. Well, since you've deprived yourself a little and then you overate, what does that mean? It means your glycogen stores are probably super compensated, meaning they're holding a little more glucose than they normally do from all the extra carbs. Well, when glycogen is super compensated, what does that mean for your training? In short, it means you're going to be strong as fuck the next day. That's what it means. You can take all that food that you ate, and instead of saying, oh no, now I need to burn all the fat off, how about you use it to build some muscle? How about you go in and say, I'm going to hit a deadlift rep PR today. I'm going to hit a squat rep PR today. I've only been able to do 4 reps with 400 pounds on the deadlift. How about I see if I can get 6 now that I've got this glycogen super compensation from this big meal? Because if I can add 2 reps to my 4 rep max on the deadlift, I'm going to grow from that. My hamstrings and my back are going to get bigger from it. I'm going to get fucking beast mode tomorrow. I hate to use that term. It's so silly. We're not going to go there. But yeah, you have training fuel to go kill it tomorrow in the gym and lift some heavy weight and make some gains off of. So instead of worrying about it, how about you take it positively and say, I'm going to eat this food. I'm going to create a need for my body to have this food for training fuel, because I'm going to go in and do some cardio first. I'm going to super compensate my body, and I'm going to have good times with my family. I'm going to enjoy my grandma's pecan pie or apple pie. I'm going to enjoy every bite of it. And the next day, I'm going to use it to make gains. I'm going to turn that good time that I had with family and loved ones in food and celebration, I'm going to take something that's already positive, and instead of making it into a negative thing the next day, I'm going to go in and build muscle with it. I'm going to build strength with it. I'm going to use that to better myself. So I'm going to take something that made me emotionally happy and improved my relationships with my loved ones, and I got to enjoy fun with them, and I'm going to also use it to improve my body physically and get stronger. How about we take that healthy approach to this? Why don't we do that instead of this obsession about, oh no, I don't want to show up and eat this food that my grandma cooked. No, man, how about you stop being a little pussy? How about you stop being a little fucking pussy? Go in and enjoy good times with people that you love, and then use it to get bigger and stronger. How's that for advice? That's a win-win situation all the way around. Everybody wins. And you win on multiple levels. I think that's a far more positive approach. But seriously, guys, stop being a little pussy about these holidays. I'm not fucking kidding about that. It's like, it's bad. When I watch you guys whine about it, it makes me think you're a little bitch. Okay? Think about that. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.